Hi, I'm Dr. Maggie Perry here with Tell Me What You're Proud of. And in the next three episodes, I'll be talking with John about why he sought psychotherapy, what was happening for him, and where he's at now. So, John, thanks so much for being here.
Yeah. So, want me to get going?
Yeah, sure. Tell me what was happening when you first got started in psychotherapy.
Yeah. So, I started like a lot of people in the podcast talked about. There was like a lot happening in my life was like in crisis mode. So, for the first time I went to therapy was in college because it was available for free, so I could go. And I knew about anxiety already. I didn't know about OCD back then. And the reason I went is because my anxiety was just kind of getting out of hand. Like I couldn't really be around other people. Like it was hard to walk from one class to another, or from like I lived in the dorms at the time, and like being around people in the dorms made me really stressed out and anxious. And, like I'd want to just leave. Um, so I saw a therapist for the first time because of that. And my anxiety was just way out of control.
Do you remember what you were anxious about? Like, what did you fear?
Yeah, I feared other people's judgments. I feared interacting with other people. A lot of it was tied to social stuff. Like I just couldn't, like people's judgments really, like I get really stressed out about it, or just like I said, even walking by strangers was hard, and just being around other people.
And what did you fear about psychotherapy at that time, or did you have any fears when you sought it out?
Yeah, I remember thinking it'd be hard to talk about things I was going through. Like it was hard to go to those places because it was difficult for me to like open up to others about it.
And is that what happened, or how did psychotherapy end up going for you?
Yeah, the first time I had a hard time opening up to the therapist. Like you'd have very brief sessions, and like you could almost time it like 20 minutes in, and then I'd be like kind of out of material. Um, so yeah, it was hard for me to open up to him, but he did suggest group, and I went to group, and it was also hard to open up there, but it was good to see that other people were having similar struggles that I did. Like if I walked by one of those people on campus, I wouldn't think like, oh, well, maybe they have social anxiety as well. Like that was the first time I kind of met other people that had similar thoughts.
And what about meeting other people with similar thoughts was helpful to you?
I think like other people in the podcast have talked about how they felt everybody's mind worked the same. For me, that was never the case. I always felt like my mind was unique and I was the only one struggling with these things. Like you don't interact with too many people, at least I didn't, that had social anxiety. Like they'd say, I have a hard time like just walking by a stranger. Like I wouldn't ever hear anybody say that. So it was kind of like made me feel more at ease for some reason to know that others had similar struggles, even if they looked like they didn't.
Hmm. And is that what made it hard for you to open up? Because you assumed that other people weren't thinking and feeling what you were thinking and feeling?
Right. Yeah. I felt very different than everybody else.
Okay. And then how did your anxiety change over time, or your psychotherapy journey? Like what happened through starting with those social anxiety individual sessions and those social anxiety groups?
Yeah. So it was always easy to know I had social anxiety because I would get talked about a lot. But OCD, like I never connected as like having OCD. Like I'd wash my hands a lot and I'd see some characters on TV that did similar, but it was like a joke. It wasn't like, this is what OCD is and like ways to cope with it. I didn't really connect the dots. And when I stopped seeing the therapist in college after a couple semesters and later in life, I saw somebody for social anxiety because I liked somebody and I couldn't really talk to her in the way I wanted and tell her that I liked her. So I went back to therapy for that reason and I stopped. And then I went and I wanted to join another group because I found that helpful in college. And you were starting a group then. And I went to see you, but then in talking to you about the issues, like some of the things about opening up came up to me again. And I just wanted to do individual therapy because like it was hard to open up. Um, and then
What
we
do
did
you
that.
can you stop there for a second? What do you feel um, when What's happening in your body when you feel vulnerable about opening up?
Start to get like tense, like my muscles start to contract a little, or I want to like talk really fast to like finish with what I'm saying, so I'm not like in the spotlight being judged.
And what about being vulnerable makes you feel like you're being judged?
Maybe because I do it. If somebody shares something, I might have a judgment, and I might not be proud about that judgment, but I will have a judgment sometimes.
So in that sense, in that way, you're assuming that other people are thinking the way that you're thinking.
Right. Yes. That is just yes.
Okay. And then what do you fear about someone potentially making a judgment about what you are saying?
I think I fear my reaction. Like sometimes somebody will make a comment that maybe somebody else would like, "What are you making a big deal about it?" Um, so I fear my reaction. Like sometimes I fear that I'll explode on that person, like in an angry state, or I'll just withdraw and I won't want to do whatever the thing is that I really wanted to do because that person is
You're making a really great point. So if you open up to someone and it's met with normalization and validation, that can be a really great connecting moment, and that can help you overcome anxiety and depression. But if you open up to someone and you're vulnerable and it's not met with validation and support, then that can be really painful. It can be even more painful than keeping it to yourself. And a lot of people either feel really angry or want to feel sad and want to withdraw when they don't get the support that they need and deserve. So is that what you've been afraid of?
there. Definitely yes.